Igbo nation is to be mostly pitied. I am not a fan of Nnamdi Kanu, but he has reason to become the leader of his people. Let Biafra be. Let them live their life. Let Yoruba live their life. Let Hausa live their life. Let Fulani live their life. Let's come on the top and just have a union.
So guys, a happy Sunday to all of you guys. Before I talk about what that particular pastor, being Femi Emmanuel, said, now, a lot of you people don't even know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's victory is equally certain on the 20th of November. And I'm going to explain in this particular video why Nnamdi Kanu will walk free on the 20th of November. I'm going to explain everything, explicitly for you guys to understand. Many people have lost hope, and many people think that Justice James Omotosho can take laws into his hands on that particular day and sentence Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to probably life imprisonment or probably to death, anything. But no, we are going to dissect everything here for you to understand the victory and how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to come out victorious. Now, people should understand something. Listen to me carefully. This is not a trial anymore. This is a total victory coming for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And Nnamdi Kanu is not just going to be discharged. He is going to be acquitted, released, and the whole world will see that Nigerian persecution of Nnamdi Kanu has failed spectacularly. Now, I'm going to explain all these things for you. Court works with what we call technicalities. And if you are good with technicalities in court, you are going to be winning your case. Now, remember that Nnamdi Kanu refused to defend a fake charge. And this is a genuine strategy for him. That Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he refused to open up a defense when Justice James Omotosho, a lot of you people don't even know why Justice James Omotosho was forcing him to open up his defense. James Omotosho and the federal government told him, open up your defense. They kept on pressurizing him. Nnamdi Kanu said no. And that was because of what? Some technical reasons. Because this technicality is going to give Mazi Nnamdi Kanu victory on the 20th. I'm going to explain to you. Because what they wanted to do is that if Nnamdi Kanu agrees to open up the defense, they will say, you no longer have any objection since you agreed and follow through the entire trial. So that was why they kept on pressurizing him. But Nnamdi Kanu, is a very smart person, and he refused to open up the defense. That the judge gave him 6 days. If you remember, Omotosho gave him 6 days, begged him. But Amadike said no. Why? Because there is no valid charge to defend. Nnamdi Kanu said, no, I'm not going to open up my defense because there is no valid charge to defend. Now, look at how he's going to give him victory. He filed motion saying, I will not. Nnamdi Kanu filed a motion and said that I will not dignify a nullity. The judge being Omotosho foreclosed. Then this made Justice James Omotosho to foreclose, mean to close up the defense. And this is what Nnamdi Kanu wanted. Now look at what is happening. Now the court, as a matter of fact, being the court of Justice James Omotosho, must now rule on all his pending motions in the judgment. The repealed law, the invalid plea he entered under deception, the lack of jurisdiction. And this has given Nnamdi Kanu the right to personally file a case to arrest the judgment, and he went to the appeal court for stay, even stormed the Supreme Court with letters. This particular man, as a matter of fact, is fighting like a lion. Because he refused to open up his defense, he now had the local standing to go to the appeal court and go to the Supreme Court to say, look at this particular man, being James Omotosho, is not giving me a fair trial or fair hearing because he does not want to address to these particular pending cases and charges or public pending motions and all that. That was why he refused to open up his defense, because not opening up his defense will give him the local standing to file a motion, which is what he just did. Nnamdi Kanu is a very smart person. A lot of people don't understand. And now, after he must have filed this thing, the appeal court and the Supreme Court will definitely address Justice James Omotosho. They will definitely call him to order, telling him you must not give that particular judgment on the 20th. Rather, this is you must actually attend to this particular pending motions. And what are the pending motions? That is what I'm going to explain to you. These particular pending motions that the Supreme Court and the appeal court is going to force James Omotosho to attend to now is where Nnamdi Kanu is going to get his freedom. And what are the pending motions? Nnamdi Kanu argued about jurisdiction, saying that the court, as a matter of fact, has no jurisdiction because of his illegal and extraordinary rendition. You remember, Nnamdi Kanu was illegally abducted from Kenya. He was illegally abducted, from Kenya through what they called extraordinary rendition. And this is why James Omotosho is running away from it. Remember, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria stipulated that you shall not detain nor try anybody that is illegally renditioned back to the country. So these are the things that James Omotosho is trying to, dodge. But Nnamdi Kanu, like I said, he's a very smart person. He knows that if he continues or if he opens up his defense like the federal government and the judge was forcing him, that means these particular pending motions will no longer be addressed because it will be assumed that he accepted the entire trial and process. So these are part of the motions that the Supreme Court and equally the appeal court will definitely tell Justice James Omotosho to attend to. And apart from that, remember Nnamdi Kanu, another motion that Nnamdi Kanu is raising that is definitely going to give him victory is about the repealed law. is about the repealed law. As you all could know, that the first and the biggest reason why Nnamdi Kanu will win this particular case hands down is that the charges are based on a bailed repealed law that does not exist anymore. You know, I've been if you've been following this my channel, you would see the death charges that the federal government is using to actually try Nnamdi Kanu. But let me explain a little bit. People should know that the federal government is charging Nnamdi Kanu under the old Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011. And this particular act was actually amended in 2013. But guess what happened? Even in May 2022, President Buhari, being the late president, signed the brand new Terrorism and Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022. That means the law that they were using to charge Nnamdi Kanu was the law made in 2011. And since 2011, that particular law has been repealed about 2 times, 2013 and again in 2022. And Section 89 of the new law repealed the entire old act. Section 89 of this particular new law made by Buhari in 2022 repealed the entire old act of Terrorism and Prevention Act. And that means from 2022 onwards, the old law is gone, dead and non-existent. You cannot prosecute, try or convict anyone under a law that has been wiped out, which is what the Constitution says. Section 36(12) of the Nigerian Constitution is crystal clear, and it says that no one, I will quote, that no one can be convicted for an offense that is not defined and penalty prescribed in a written law that is in force at that time of trial. Let me repeat what I said. That Section 36, this is the section that Nnamdi Kanu is using to hold the federal government and all of them on their necks. That Section 36(12) of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended is crystal clear that no one can be convicted for an offense that is not defined and penalty prescribed in a written law that is in force at that time of trial. So he's saying that nobody shall be prosecuted nor convicted if that particular law is not written in the Constitution at that particular point in time. And in the 2022 there is nothing about this particular terrorism that is actually invoked there. The one that the federal government is using to charge Nnamdi Kanu has expired. Repealed means cancelled. Forget the big English here. Repealed means we've cancelled this particular law. And even the Court Act or the Federal High Court Act equally states that when a law is being repealed or cancelled, it means any existing case on that particular law will be cancelled. It will become null and void and nullity, which is basically the truth, because the reason why a law will be repealed or cancelled, it means that particular law does not fit, or probably that particular law is not okay. So whoever that you're trying on that particular law should actually be released, because it is assumed that that particular law is null and void at that particular point in time. So this is part of the area where Nnamdi Kanu is actually holding the federal government, and they've been running helter-skelter. And this is where Justice James Omotosho has been shying away. He has been running from addressing this issue. Nnamdi Kanu kept on standing his ground by saying, show me the law under which you are trying me before I can open up my defense. Justice James Omotosho said, open up your defense first. Nnamdi Kanu said, no, if you show me, I will open up my defense immediately. The back and forth argument happened throughout the court session about last 2 weeks and co. And Justice James Omotosho and even the federal government lawyers were unable to say, look at the law under which we are trying you. So Nnamdi Kanu is actually going to come out victorious on the 20th, because on the 20th, before a lawyer will actually give a judgment, he would actually say, okay, for breaching section blah 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 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you are hereby sentenced to blah 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 number of years or anything. Now, since the law do not have the crime, it does not even have the penalty, we are going to see where Justice James Omotosho is going to bring out his own constitution to sentence Nnamdi Kanu. Like I said, Nnamdi Kanu's victory is very much assured. And then remember, everybody, both the international communities are watching him, and this is definitely going to, he's definitely going to actually make him to give the right judgment, because now everybody is actually interested in this particular case, not just the Nigerian people, but international observers are going to be in court on that particular 20th. So they will actually look at the Constitution of Nigeria to see if truly there is something, if truly the crime that Nnamdi Kanu committed is even in the Constitution and the penalty is written there. So with all this influence, Justice James Omotosho knows that international observers are going to come. Definitely, he won't want to misbehave on that particular day. I can boldly and literally tell you this for free. He wouldn't want to misbehave by giving probably a judgment that is not actually proper. Right? Let's briefly talk about what that particular Femi Emmanuel said. He was speaking about how Nigeria, it could be a country, but it's not a nation. That for you to be a nation, the citizens inside the country must have similar ideologies. But the problem in Nigeria is that none of the citizens have similar ideologies. Rather, people are more attached or attracted to their ethnic nationalities than the country. An Igbo man wants to be identified as an Igbo man, not even as a Nigerian. A Yoruba person wants to be identified as a Yoruba person, a Hausa person, and a Fulani person, the same thing. And this goes on and on. And this is the truth. This is our reality. What the British did was to force people with different ideologies together, all because of their surface interest and purposes and whatever thing they want to do. Like I said, Nigeria was just like a company for them. It was sold as a company. So they never considered the interest of the people that were living there. It was more all about their interest. They wanted to join every region together so that they can be able to control the resources, across the entire area. That was why they merged the country, not because they had any other good motive of merging the country together. They merged it because of their selfish interest, and that is what this particular Femi Emmanuel was actually saying, that we cannot call this country a country. And he was speaking about Nnamdi Kanu, that he might not like his pattern, but Nnamdi Kanu should be released, and he's fighting for his people and all that. So you could see that people are actually buying in these ideas and all that, because they know that this is the truth. We can't keep on living in the seat and lying to ourselves that we are one and probably we are together, when we know that truly we have different ideology, we have different mentality, and we have different approaches of solving issues, which is basically and literally the truth. Well, that's all we have for you guys. Remember, I'll keep on updating you guys on this particular topic about Nnamdi Kanu's case coming up on the 20th. See you guys later.